And oh boy, I'm having some difficulties here right from the start. At any rate, I've got things together. So, as usual, let me say peace and love to everyone. And I'm Reverend Jim White, as everyone here knows. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And looks like we've got one more person entering here. So let's just take a minute and get her in. Looks like through the wizardry of Gina, our
I
technical
am here.
assistant.
All right.
White is here too. So welcome to Practical Spirituality 102. How many of you have seen PS 101? Were here with me for that workshop? Okay. So if you weren't, it's okay. We're going to do a quick review of PS 101 and try and get everybody up to speed that way. So if it's okay, let's get started on Practical Spirituality PS 102. And what we'll be talking about is practical spirituality, spiritual practice based on common sense. And so a good place to start, I always find, is to first tell you a bit about what we're going to be talking about tonight. And as usual, I've got a bunch of screen slides to help out with things. So let me share screen here and just kind of pull up this first slide. Bear with me. Let me get all my stuff going here. Hold on just a moment. That's not working right. All right, bear with me here. And I'll try this screen share again, hopefully with a bit more success. And I've got my screen slides here. And what I want to do is give you an overview of our workshop tonight. And so hopefully you can see that. I'll make it a little bit bigger. But does that look okay to you? Can you read it?
Yes.
Yes. Practical Spirituality, or PS 102, is the second in a series of 3 PS workshops designed to introduce, explain, and encourage large numbers of people to participate in the practice of practical spirituality. Simply defined, practical spirituality is spiritual practice based on common sense. Practical Spirituality 102 talks specifically about the problem of scale, a major impediment to the goal of engaging large numbers of people to learn about, use, and experience the benefits of practical spirituality, and how the minimalist approach, which hopefully you'll remember we talked about in PS 101, can help. So looking at an outline of tonight's workshop, we did the welcome part, and now I'm showing you the workshop overview. And after that, we'll do a quick review of PS 101 so you can understand some of the concepts and background, if you will, of how we got to PS 102. And so after we review PS 101, we'll get into the heart of our discussion tonight, which is talking about this problem of scale. And I'll talk to you again about why this whole thing is even important. Why should you care? And the reason is because I believe, along with, I think, millions around the world, that something big is getting ready to happen. After that, I want to give you an idea of how big is this scale that we're talking about. And I've got this problem of scale chart I want to show you that I'll think will help with that understanding. And finally, after that assessment of the problem of scale, I want to talk to you about moving the needle. Is it possible? Should we even try? What are our resources? Now, this is stated in this, it says, keeping it real. What should they do? What are their resources? Because what I'm proposing is, here are a large number of people that have experienced firsthand the miraculous power of spiritual principles in their lives. So for those that know what this is about and have experienced it, what should they do? And we're just going to give them some advice on what may be possible, or if the whole thing's impossible to begin with. Finally, we'll just talk about some ideas on what we can do next in terms of trying to promote practical spirituality, and basically trying to get some ideas written down is the purpose of this whole worksheet. I'm trying to get some help, and I hope you all will be able to help me. Let's just do the best we can. And then there'll be the workshop wrap up, and I'll tell you more about that. So does that make any sense to you in terms of an overview? Any questions so far? Great. Then let me stop share on that one. And we've done the overview. So if it's okay, without further ado, let's just go ahead and do this quick review of Practical Spirituality 101. And to do that, I've got another screen share here to do. You know, I'm going to be a Zoom expert one day, right? Can't you see it's working feverishly on that? So this is just a review of Practical Spirituality 101. A little bit bigger again. And what I did was I kind of took my talk from PS 101 and put kind of a condensed version of it here that we can go over in the next few minutes. And is it okay if we take turns reading this? Okay. So sure. Our usual manner, Gina, is it okay if you're number one? Can you hear me, Gina?
Yep, I can hear you fine. I'm not going to be sticking around for, I'll probably leave after 7:30. So if you don't mind, I'll read the first time and we'll see where it's at.
That sounds excellent.
All
You
right.
just let Linda in, right?
I did. Linda is on her way in.
All right. Well, let's get her on board, okay? Hey, Linda.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No problem. Better late than never. Believe me, we've got a small group here, but I think we're small but mighty. And what we were just getting ready to do is to start a review of Practical Spirituality 101. I'm sure you'll remember that one because you were here with us, okay?
Mhm.
So what I did was just took an abbreviated copy of my talk from PS 101, and we were just going to assign readers and read through it and do a quick review of PS 101. So Gina is reader one, and then D, and then Joan, and then Sherilyn, right? Kind of the way we came in here. And then, so Sherilyn is number 4, and Linda is number 5, okay?
Okay.
So we're used to this format. So, Gina, why don't you get us started with the review and read all of number 1?
Number 1, about me and Love Communications Ministries. I'm a spiritual hybrid. I was primarily in the Black Baptist Church as a kid and as an adult until 2001 when I discovered A Course in Miracles. This decision quickly led me to the Unity Church, specifically to Unity of Livonia in Livonia, Michigan in 2006. I've been a member of Unity of Livonia ever since. Something unexpected seems to have emerged from my years in the Baptist Church, ACIM, and Unity, something that I believe has transformed me into a spiritual hybrid. I believe that by using a more common sense approach to spirituality, we can get more people worldwide to experience the miraculous benefits of spiritual principles in making our lives happier, easier, and more carefree. I call this approach practical spirituality.
Thanks, Gina. Comments or questions? We're all okay so far?
Mhm.
So, D, if you would do number 2, what is practical spirituality?
What is practical spirituality? Definition. PS is a respectful translation of spiritual principles in a way that appeals primarily to people's common sense. Its goal is to get more people to use spiritual principles as a lifestyle, simply because it makes their lives better and betters the lives of others. Better makes their lives better and betters the lives of others better as well.
Yeah, you saw that typo there, but you know what
That's okay.
I mean, right? Go ahead.
PS proposes that it can make the benefits of using spiritual principles more acceptable to large numbers of people by de emphasizing the use of religious or spiritual language and replacing them with secular language instead. In short, PS teaches spiritual principles in a way that both believers, quote unquote, and non believers might be willing to try.
Thank you. And Joan, number 3.
Okay, keeping it real. 3A, what do we know for sure? Something seems to run things.
And let me
Keeping it real options.
let me add something here that may be helpful. In PS 101, I admitted, and maybe a lot of folks would, I don't know anything for sure. I mean, really, if you keep it real, what do we know for sure? I don't. But the closest I could come to something we all believe we know for sure is that something seems to run things, from the activity of the cosmos to the beating of your heart. You don't beat your own heart, do you? To growing your fingernails, to making your metabolism work. What is that? Well, I don't know, but it seems like something bigger than me seems to run things. And I could probably get a consensus on that from most everybody. Something seems to run things. Whatever you call it, that's my keeping it real observation. How about you?
Mhm.
So if something seems to run things, what are our options for dealing with it? Now you can pick up, Joe.
Okay.
Real options.
Okay. Okay, keeping it real options. 1, try to alter, destroy, or change it. Option 2, totally go with it and trust that in the end it's loving. That is, that it's good.
Can you think of any other options for dealing with whatever it is that run things? How many would pick option 1?
No,
Does that make sense to anybody?
sounds too difficult to me.
Sounds like truly impossible, because
Yes.
it's much bigger than I am, or all of us for that matter. So that leaves option 2, because I couldn't think of any other options. What do you think option 2 is a choice?
Yeah. Go with it.
Yeah, because if it's not loving, if it's not good, what can I do about it? And yet we have all of this evidence, everybody, all these smart people and writings seem to say that it is good. So basically what I'm saying, I'm going to try option 2 and trust that what all these people are saying and writing is going to turn out to be true. Do you understand what I mean about keeping it real?
Mhm.
Yes.
Keeping it real options. So Joan, we're on 3B. So first of all, what do we know for sure? Now, what I'm talking about is keeping it real, looking at things. Joan, read 3B. Maybe that'll help.
Okay. The state of the world. Despite all the things we've tried so far, would you agree that there are still a lot of things in the world that don't seem to work right? And given the incredible capabilities of today's technology, don't you think that it's almost certain that the next big things that are going to happen and might not go right are going to be big?
What do you think? Are you getting that feeling that we've developed the capability to do things on a worldwide scale? that we have the technologies to impact the whole planet? What do you think?
Yeah.
There's this new thing called AI that they
Yeah.
talk about it's going to take over the world. There's some scary stories going on about it.
Oh, so that's kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I mean, years ago, a lot of stuff would happen, but the world was a big place. It couldn't change everything. But now we're dealing with things that can impact the whole world. And so that's what I'm talking about here. Is that clear?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, Joan, read some more. Don't you think?
Okay. Don't you think that a lot of people worldwide are feeling like you, that something big is getting ready to happen? An inflection point, a large scale happening, possibly leading to a global solution or a global disaster? If we can reasonably anticipate that whatever's going to happen next is going to be big, is there anything we can or should do? Is it getting to the point, spiritually speaking, that we must act to save our brothers and sisters in order to save ourselves? I believe that practical spirituality may be a way to help.
And you know what I mean with this statement, spiritually speaking, we understand that we're all one, right?
Mhm.
So is it possible we're getting to the point that we may have to do something to save our brothers and sisters in order to save ourselves because we're one, right? That's where I'm coming from with a statement like that. Everybody okay so far?
Yeah.
Our next reader here is Sherilyn,
Yes,
number 4, right?
yes. Practical spirituality as a solution. Personal experiences with the power of love. I suspect most of us already feel God's loving presence in our lives. We are already experiencing the fact that we are spiritual beings and that our essence is love. Historical evidence of the power of love. Philosophers, educators, gurus, spiritual masters, and quantum physicists write writings like the Bible, the Quran, and the Hindu Vedas. Rock stars like the Beatles and great movies like Avatar and Star Wars. May the force be with you. Everyday examples of love's power. Happy endings at the movies.
Y'all
Synergistic.
remember, like,
Pardon?
those that didn't attend PS1 101, have you ever noticed you go to the movies and you watch all the ups and downs and adventures and violence, and then at the end there's a happy ending and people are loving each other and they hug each other on the movie screen and everybody in the audience goes, "Oh." What is that phenomenon that not only brings joy ostensibly to the people on the screen, but it also is so contagious, it draws in the whole audience? What is it about a happy ending and people coming together that makes everyone go, "Oh"? That's what I mean by happy endings at the movies. And then there's the synergistic effects of love, that is to say, joining. synergy, where the sum is equal to more than its individual parts. And we gave a few examples, but I took a simplistic one. How come A plus B equals C? How come it's not AB? To me, it's because when two things join, it's the catalyst for creativity, for producing something new. Like you and your husband come together and have children, and part of that child will be like the husband and part will be like the wife, and yet there's another X factor there. Well, a C factor, right? That's neither A or B. It's a new creation that occurred from joining. Now, am I off my rocker to take this approach, or do you see what I mean? We gave the example of a symphony orchestra where you have all of these great individual players coming together. And when they do, they create a whole new instrument. It's called the symphony orchestra, right?
Right.
None of the individual players can make that sound, but it can be produced when they play and join together and have unified goals. Do you see what I mean about everyday examples? Maybe you haven't thought about these things, but it's not only historical evidence about love's power, but you can see its effect in your everyday life. And I stole some of your thunder there, Sherilyn. Why don't you pick? I did number 2. Why don't you pick up with number 3 on everyday examples?
Number 3, how love makes you feel better, have an easier life, favors your choice to be sweet instead of bitter, nice instead of nasty. The
So
problem of
let me stop there. All I'm sweet. If you had your choice, and if things could be just the way you wanted it, if you could be in control, would you be sweet or bitter? Would you be nice or nasty? If it was up to you.
Nice.
sometimes I get nasty.
Yeah, but sometimes we say we get nasty because other people are pushing our buttons, or things outside things aren't going our way. But if I had total control, if it was up to me, would I be nice all the time?
I'd like to be, but I'm not sure I can.
Right. But if it were up to you, you'd be loving instead of something else. It feels better.
It does.
It's happier. All right. That's the point. So, Sherilyn, thank you for that. Number 5, we talked about briefly in PS 101, and I'll go into that more tonight. So, just again, on the summarization side, we're up to, I believe, are we up to Linda for number 6? You want to read that, Linda? Thank you.
Be nice, the minimalist approach to defining spiritual principles. When it comes to a useful definition that we could use in support of PS, I suggest we start with A, admittedly simplistic definition, but one that I believe a lot of people might buy into, regardless of their religious or spiritual beliefs. It's a definition designed to minimize the many differences and conflicts that are such a big part of religion and even spirituality today. Here's my minimalistic approach to defining spiritual principles. Be nice, be loving, it works, we can prove it. I believe that this simplistic approach might indeed be able to help save the world.
So you understand be nice and be loving, but how can we prove it works? Because it's worked for me.
Yes.
Isn't it working for you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding that the nicer I am, no matter what, it's made my life better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, seriously, if I was loving 50% of the time before, and now through practice I've gotten up to 70%, I can see my life's better than when I used to be loving only sometimes. I try and be nice and loving all the times, no matter what, instead of that old knee-jerk reaction where you can only push me so far. I'm finding that I don't knee-jerk like I used to, and that it's helped me. It's made my life happier. We're living witnesses to its power. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How many around the world of 8 billion people are experiencing this? We don't know. But it seems like a growing number. And I think you'll see that kind of borne out with some of the other charts that I'll be showing you. But does that give you an understanding of why I think this minimalist approach might be able to help? Because if we got into a discussion of defining spiritual principles, that could get really complicated really fast. So I'm saying just back off all that deep stuff and sum it up by saying be nice. Now, are there some Hindu people or some Muslim people or some Baptist people or Catholic people that might say, yeah, that'll work?
Some.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to appeal to. Don't make it so complicated and spiritual. I want something I can see and use in my everyday life without having to separate off into a prayer closet to feel it. Making any sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Then how about everyone's read, right? How about me? I'll do the last one. It's already happening. A movement toward practical spirituality, I said back in PS 101, is already underway. Most of you here and easily millions worldwide can already see God's plan operating in their lives. I base that on God is love, right? So when I say the power of love, I'm really talking about the power of what we call God, but we ain't gonna say that We're not going to call it God, because then, oh no, the name is Allah. No, the name is, okay, just call it love. Okay, that's everyday term. Do you see where I'm coming from here?
Mhm.
Yes.
More and more of us are seeing God's plan everywhere. Yet, for better or worse, it seems that humanity may be getting ready for a quantum leap. Do we just keep going on the way we are, or should we act to do what we can to make sure the leap is for the better? Practical spirituality teaches what it's like to be loving all the time, what it's like to always be nice. I believe we can use PS to convince large numbers of our brothers and sisters to use the power of love as a lifestyle simply because it works. And then, if you'll remember, we ended PSS 101 with this Be Nice video by the Black Eyed Peas featuring Will I Am and special guest Snoop Dogg. For those that saw the video, you might have thought Snoop Dogg was a thug, but maybe he's a preacher. Yeah, maybe we're starting to see Snoop differently. So if Will I Am and the Black Eyed Peas and Snoop Dogg made a whole video about being nice, do you think they might endorse a Be Nice campaign?
Mhm.
Has anyone asked them? Reach out. Maybe we can get some support on this, because it looks like we're not alone with an idea like this. It's already happening. So that was a quick review of PS 101. Do you see where we're coming from with this, or where I'm coming from with this?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
have more questions? All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing here and get back to what's next. So we did that review, and so now on my agenda, let's get into the meat of our discussion tonight, okay? And talk specifically about this problem of scale. Now, again, let me just reiterate that I know that I'm mainly preaching to the choir in these workshops. I mean, most of the people being attracted right now are deeply spiritual. So I know a lot of the things I'm talking about with reference to the power of love, you already know. And you not only know it intellectually, but through your own lived experience. But I just feel like now more than ever may be the time for us to share our experiences with the power of love with our brothers and sisters. Now may be the time for us to seriously step up. Why? Because I believe, along with many of you here, and perhaps millions around the world, that something big is getting ready to happen. Something big is getting to happen. Again, as we said before, some kind of inflection point for humanity, a quantum leap. And again, primarily brought about through the massive capabilities of today's technologies, and indeed the extraordinary complexity and contentiousness of human society as a whole. I think we're on the brink of some large-scale happening. Don't you?
Yep.
You know, anybody want to debate it a little? Yeah. I'll tell you. I'm 76. I'm figuring, wow, the world's going crazy. Something big is getting ready to happen. I hope the kids can manage it well, and I'll probably be gone by then. And now it's occurring to me. Remember, I guess you're in my generation, ladies. We used to say things are really changing fast, you know, like when microwaves came out and all the new stuff. And we said, what's it gonna be like in the next 50 years? Ladies, what's it gonna be like in 5 years? Where will AI be in 5 years? Where will climate change be in 5 years? Where will social justice initiatives be in 5 years? Where will democracy be in 5 years? I'm starting to think it's something I can't hand off to the kids, because it's going to be happening while I'm still here to step up. So I'm figuring I'm not going to die my way out of this mess. Do you die your way out of it? Yeah, it's pretty serious, right? So
Very serious.
To me, the idea of promoting practical spirituality is a big one. It's like a spiritual calling that I can't seem to let go of, even though right now the idea looks impossible to pull off. And I'm not sure I have a clue where to start. But despite this, there's this voice in me, and it says, keep going, Jim, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. And like I said before, I'm also heartened because the more I get into the project, the more I'm finding out I'm not alone. I see there are many others already involved in the movement, at least someone like I'm proposing. We talked about the Be Nice video, but another example, if I had to pick one, is look at Marianne Williamson and her run for president again. You know, a premier Course in Miracles student running for president. So all I want to do through my abilities and the resources of Love Communications Ministries is just to do my part in what I believe is a needed movement. Now, if it gets some traction, fine. If not, I'll just continue to be grateful and see where my life leads from here, okay? I am not invested in the outcome of this project. I'm simply trying to do my part. So that's being as honest as I can about it. Any questions?
Well, in a way, I am invested in the sense that not for it for the project per se, but to do my part in it in my everyday life. I am
Correct.
invested in that.
Right. And so I think we're on the same page. I'm invested in doing my part. Okay. Whether it's successful or not, you can look back and say, well, I did the best I could.
Mhm.
And I had a nonprofit that I tried to use to help with it as well. Good deal. Anything else? Well, let's get into how big is the scale. And to do that, I kind of put together an admittedly very rough, admittedly a very non-scientific survey I did, but one that I think will help me to make my point. And basically, I just did a Google search on some stuff. And let me show you what I found out. So let me pull this one up and talk about it. Okay. So, how are we doing? Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, let me fix it up here so I can see it better. All right. How big is the problem of scale? And what I decided to do is just go to Google and ask about large scale engagements in the United States. Now, the US has a population of about 330 million people, but that's only 4.23% of the 8 billion in the world. So I'm not trying to get us to blow our heads off trying to thinking about 8 billion. Can we start with even thinking about the US? So what are some large scale engagements in the United States? Well, I found out that 320 million people, about 97% of the population, likes Coca-Cola. How Coca-Cola do that? How did they garner 320 million people that like their product? There are 302 million social media users. 92% of the US population use social media. 75% of the population subscribe to Google. 64% of the population are Christians. You'll be interested in this one. 89 million people in the United States say they're not religious, but they're spiritual. Well, that one hit me because that's kind of me, right? I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. And there used to be Pew polls, you know, the Pew organization that does all these big surveys, right?
Yes.
And this used to be a category called other, like not Christian, not Jews, not Islam, other. But it's the fastest growing segment in this latest study. People that say they're spiritual but not religious. So there's a group on the move that's engaging large numbers of people. We had 81 million Joe Biden voters, 74 million Trump voters. 21% of the US population is engaged with Bank of America. How'd they do that? How long did it take, by the way? Like Coca-Cola? How long's Coke been around, by the way? We don't know exactly. I'm just saying long time, right?
Mhm.
17 million follow NFL football, 5%. We have 5.8 million Jews in the United States. That's about 2% of 330 million. 4.7 million watch Fox News. You know, more people watch Fox News than NBC, right?
Yes.
How Fox do that? Because they have like a ultra conservative point of view, and yet somehow they manage to overcome the more traditional news media. We have 4.45 million Muslims, 1%. Y'all know Deepak Chopra?
Yes.
Mhm.
He has 3.7 million Facebook followers. Eckhart Tolle, 2.3 million. 1.5 million people watch Major League Baseball, but that doesn't even come to 1% of the population, does it? Marianne Williamson, 835,000, not million, Facebook followers. The Foundation for Inner Peace. Y'all are familiar with them, right? Publishers,
Mhm.
of
Yes.
course. 189,000. UAW members in the US, 150,000. Unity Church members, 80,000. So it looks like a gargantuan task, and yet I can come all the way down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till I get to this 64%. And the question is, how did they do it? How do y'all think they did it? It's certainly possible, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think they did it? What means and methods did they use? Yeah, so maybe they're not spiritual methods, but apparently they work in achieving some goals. Whatever those methods are, maybe we need to take a look at methods like that. Is it sacrilegious? Not necessarily, right? It's secular means probably, but it seems doable. That's the only point I'm trying to make. And again, we're just sticking to the US, but somebody figured out how to get 97% engaged. Comments, help me, please. Does this chart help to give you perspective at least?
So how did they do it? What's your take? How did they do it?
I think they use secular means to do it. I think they advertised. I think they had investors. I think they sold stock in the company. I think they hired advertising gurus. And I think they had a good product and a good message. They made something that helped people.
Mhm.
Don't you enjoy Coca-Cola?
Me, no. I don't drink soda.
Well, there are a lot of
I make up
people
the
that
I make
do.
up the 3%.
Yeah, you're in the 3%. But seriously, to answer your question, uh, I think they use the means and methods that are available to us to sell their product. And I'll tell you, the message that we have about how be nice can change your life is better than even a Coke.
Mhm. I'll drink to that.
All right. That's any other questions or comments? Is that helping us to set the tone here? Okay. Uh Gina, are you there?
No, she left.
That's right. She said she'd have to leave. Anybody else have a comment? If not, I'll continue. So you can see where I'm going with this. And I am going to stop sharing here and see where I am on my agenda. Is it possible to move the needle at all on a project like this? Well, theoretically, at least, of course, anything's possible, right?
Mhm.
And with this minimalist approach, this simplified way of promoting the power of love or spiritual principles, like I said before, I think we've definitely got a powerful message, and one that we can not only talk about, but demonstrate through empirical means like the historical evidence of the power of love, what it's done for us experientially already as individuals, and showing people everyday examples of how coming together works better than being contentious and fighting and having conflict. So I think we have a winning message, but I'm not sure how to get it out there in a way that we can connect with others and do what I said, which is coming together. So what I want to do next, it's very brief. It's about maybe a 5-minute video I want to show you, okay?
Mhm.
Talking about, is it possible and how big is the scale? So let me get this set up for a video, and I want to show it to you. For those that know me, you won't be surprised that it's Sadhguru, will you?
Oh, okay.
You can tell me what it is.
Well, I was thinking like,
Let's get that going.
What is the impact that you want to have on the world?
when I was 25 years of age, when suddenly things burst forth within me, and I realized if I sit here without messing myself, naturally I'm bursting with ecstasy and every cell in my body drips ecstasy. I thought initially I'm going off my rocker. Then again and again when I saw over a period of 6 to 8 weeks, when I saw if I just close my eyes, I just burst into ecstatic states. So I clearly realized, if I don't mess with my physiological and psychological process, ecstasy is the only way to be. Nothing to be done, you don't have to do anything. When I realized this, I sat down and actually planned. On that day, the world's population was 5.6 billion people. I made a plan in 2.5 years' time that I will make the world ecstatic. No fool like a young fool, you know. Now, it's been 37 years, not 2.5 years. Well, people say we have touched over 500 million people or so.
Whoa.
Don't say whoa, you don't woe my failures.
Yeah, I guess.
Because my idea of humanity is 7.6 billion people. 500 million people, time going away, I'm condemned to die a failure, but I'm a blissful failure, all right? So, what we need is just this. Do you want to live in a beautiful world means what? Beautiful does not mean just a beautiful view of the ocean or something else. Beautiful means human life here is pleasant within every human being. The question is not about what I wear, what I drive, where I live, but how I am within myself. See, what we can do in the world is a question of times. In which time of history we exist, accordingly we do things. If we were here 100 years ago, we wouldn't be recording all this stuff, all right? We would be doing something different. But human experience is constant. Whichever generation you are, you can either be blissed out or misery. Always, forever. It has been so and it will be so. So, what we can do in the world is subject to many realities of the times. But how we can be within ourselves is always a possibility. So what is always a possibility must be manifested. Whether you will run faster than Mr. Bolt or not, whether you will climb Mount Everest or not, this is not the point. Those things are subject to individual tastes and individual likes and dislikes. But will your experience of life on this planet be pleasant or not? At least this one thing we must determine, that every human being's experience of life on this planet is pleasant. That much we must do, and it's doable.
That is incredible. Sadhguru, thank you so much for being on the show. That was absolutely incredible. Thank you for your time. Guys, I can't recommend his book highly enough. Check it out, Inner Engineering, it's phenomenal. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Have any of you seen Sadhguru, one of my all-time favorites before?
Not in person, but yes.
Well, I've never seen him in person either, but I watch him all the time on YouTube, and he always has a lot of wisdom for me. But the reason I wanted to show you guys this clip, I guess the moral of the story to me, if you were following, is that Sadhguru thought he could make the world loving in 2.5 years, and it's 37 years later and he's still working on it. He's got 500 million people, but he's still not there yet. Yet he seems to be, I guess, a satisfied failure because he's trying to do his part. I mean, by the numbers standard, 500 million out of 8 billion is minuscule. And yet he still feels it's important to work on it, to step up, to give it a try. So I don't know if that's where you are, but if I can make a contribution to something as significant as making the world a happier place, just let me die on off at my time. I don't have any regrets. Would you?
Mm-mm.
What a lofty contribution to help our brothers and sisters. And that was kind of the point I'm trying to make with this video. What do you think?
Well, really, the only way that you can accomplish anything is to do what you can do within yourself and let it radiate out to other people.
Yeah.
You can't change other people except by being who you are.
Yes.
If you are loving.
Here's the thing. How many people are spiritual and are deeply spiritual through a spiritual awareness of this loving entity being alive and working? How many are there around the world? Maybe a lot more than you
And we
might
know.
think, but they don't have a way to come out and share with others. And yet, if you're deeply spiritual, you recognize your connection to everyone else. I'm just trying to put it out there and get some help. And that's what this is about. Let me show you another screen slide, if I may. It's another of my hoping to be famous, keeping it real slides, okay?
Okay.
Oh boy. Yep. Here we go. So here's keeping it real. This is what I put together here, my friends. Keeping it real. It's a discussion. What can they do are the issues, and what resources do they have? I'm not talking about you personally unless you fall into the category we describe, okay? If not, we just want to look at your observations of what is possible. So here's the situation. Many believe that humanity is about to experience a major crisis, an inflection point, a possible quantum leap that could result in either an enormous blessing or an enormous disaster. Whatever it is, they think it's gonna be big. So, should those with firsthand experience of the miraculous power of spiritual principles, that is to say, the power of love, should they do anything? Yes, no, don't know. And what can or should they do? If your answer's nothing, you can just kind of tune out to the rest of this, all right? But for those that check the something box, if you were to go about a project or an initiative like this, what would some of your resources be in promoting the power of love, in promoting the use of spiritual principles to make your life and the lives of others significantly better. Well, there's some spiritual resources, I guess, personal experiences with using spiritual principles. Are they working for you? Because if not, this one won't work. That's not going to be a resource. But if you're feeling it in your own life, that's a resource. It's not like you'll be talking about something you haven't personally experienced. Then there's current and historical evidence of the power of spiritual principles. I mean, there's millennial evidence, right? Right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then there's current evidence that when you look around you, you can see the power of joining, the power of inclusion, how two heads, at least theoretically, are better than one, right?
Mhm.
How A plus B equals C, and how you create this transformative thing called the symphony orchestra. I can come up with a lot more, okay? And then spiritually, you're gaining insight as to the positive impact of using spiritual principles and the impact it might have in a large scale way. And then there's the secular stuff, timing. Maybe the timing is right whether we want it to be or not, because something big is getting ready to happen. There's large scale interest, we think. We don't know for sure, but we could venture to say that there are people worldwide that would say yes to love. Maybe we just haven't connected so that we take on that power of joining, of inclusion. And that doesn't mean we're coming together for a fight. I'll talk to you in PS 103 about how this transition would have to be initiated. We can't use the same methods. Who is that said you can't solve the problem on the same level? Somebody smiling. D, who said that?
Einstein.
Okay. So you see, it's not just regular person Jim, even famous people are talking about methodologies that are quite unique compared to the regular dog eat dog world of how you get things done. We have a powerful message with potentially extraordinary results. We have all of this empirical evidence. We have a simple, common sense message, the power of love, the minimalist approach. Be nice. What does that mean to you? Well, we can give you all kinds of examples of what it means to be nice, or you can just go with your gut. Do you like to feel sweet or sour? Pleasant or nasty? Which one makes you happier? And then we can develop these everyday examples for people that want to know more. What do you mean, be nice? Well, it's pretty straightforward, but if you want more, we've got plenty more, and that's what we're developing to help. Secular side. Do loving people have money?
Some.
As many as unloving people? I mean, just because somebody's a billionaire doesn't mean they're a bitch, right?
Oh, sometimes that's what it takes is money to
Now,
promote.
you've seen a lot of people from Bill Gates that seem to, that's what came to mind. Warren Buffett, Bernie Sanders. There are a lot of people in that higher echelon that might say yes to love. We have access to the same technologies as Coca-Cola.
Mhm.
We might get together enough money to pay for it if we all came together. We have access to top talent, some of the greatest minds, just like Coca-Cola, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And we have this axiom: the arc of history is long, but it bends toward justice. Does that mean it bends toward treating everyone fairly?
Yeah.
Hope so.
What are the obstacles? The problem of scale, which we're spending time on tonight, and other. Can you think of others? You probably can. It's not necessarily, but I just want it to make the category exhaustive. Any others come to mind right away? And that's good enough, right? So, based on keeping it real, what do you think? What should these people do that are experiencing the miraculous power of love? Should they do it? Should they try? Should they look at Sadhguru and see what a failure he is and say, I'm out of it. We don't have a chance in hell, even with the miraculous power of love. Comment.
Well, it seems like you're talking about, when you say should they? I mean, some people are activists and some would believe that you spread it, by your own example and
Yes.
not as a what do you call it? Not as a what did the Christians do to promote? I'm missing the word, but anyhow, I think that's what you're talking about here.
Yep.
I mean, and if I look at what, like Susan B. Anthony, who were the people, Martin Luther King, how did they promote change?
Through their large scale demonstration.
Well, you take Mother Teresa, right? That wasn't promoted, so to speak.
That's right. She was just being herself.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. To me, those are two sides of it.
That's
Yes.
right. And yet they don't have to be opposing sides.
No, they're not opposing sides.
Some are demonstrating one-on-one. Others are using more secular communications means. There are no losers. We're inclusive of every way of promoting love. I would just offer, though, from a common sense perspective, that one-to-one is nice, but if I can start impacting large segments, that's nice too.
Of course. Yeah, and who
And it's not
has more impact, right?
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people say, well, I'm spiritual and I'm above this and I don't want to have anything to do with it and I'll just stay in my prayer closet. And that's God bless you. But there's some others that say, hey, we have the means to share our spirituality the way Coke shares Coca-Cola. Comments?
So would you consider that activists?
Would I consider what activists?
What you're promoting?
Yes, I am a love activist. I'd like to see if we've heard about love for a long time. Have we given love a serious try, a large scale try? Maybe it could change the world. So I'm an
So the hippie generation was in that, right? And they weren't coming from religion.
Correct. But fundamentally, they were selling something non-establishment, like all we need is love. Da, 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 da. Okay, that wasn't at church, was it?
Right. So what's the difference really between what they tried to promote?
Timing.
I mean, because that's our generation to me, the hippie generation. We're talking,
Well, you asked me what's different, and I'm offering timing and technology as a couple of prime examples.
Okay, fair enough.
We maybe need to care about this even more than the 60s. And we have more tools at our disposal to see if it might work.
Yes,
Is
we
that
do.
helpful?
Yes.
Joan, Sherilyn, Linda, what do you think?
I think, first of all, it comes from and through each of us as individuals to demonstrate the love. And some of us are not terribly outgoing activists that want to stand on a pedestal and shout,
Right.
You be who you are, and you can demonstrate a lot just being who you are, being love. And
would you go so far as to write down how that's working for you as a testimonial and send it to me?
Well,
are you that active?
No, I'm not. But
so
what I'm saying is, it needs to. I'm just kind of. I've been through a lot lately, and I'm questioning everything, and I'm coming to a point now, and this is why I'm with you, where I need to make some inner changes for myself, which I anticipate will affect the people around me. And
take your time. I mean, at best, I'm looking at 10, 15 years on this project. So rest up and see what you might want to do next year. We're not excluding anyone, and I'm not asking anyone to be an active activist.
Right.
But if you would just subscribe and read what we're doing, that's a form of activism there.
Yes.
So I'm not asking anybody to go on picket lines or anything like
that. No, I know.
So, yeah, we're clear?
Yeah.
Okay. And
so I'm not sure, Sherilyn, when you were saying you're making some decisions, it almost sounded like you're assessing what has worked for you in life and what hasn't. Did I
Well,
read that wrong, or?
Yes, that's true. And right now I'm down here with a lot of Christians coming from the basic Bible.
Mhm.
And the Bible has never spoken to me because I don't believe in God being a punishing God. God is love. And that's what brought me back to A Course in Miracles. And the more I'm with it every week, the more it resonates with me again. And I have to go that route for myself, and because I know it will make a difference in my relationships with other people as well. And that is spreading love in on an individual basis to whomever. And for me, that's a start
Mhm.
in doing that.
Mhm. Thanks, Sherilyn.
You're welcome.
Joni, any comments at all? You,
No,
you say,
I'm
Jim,
wondering,
I've
I
known
think,
you for a long time, Jim, but you're really going off the deep end this time.
No, not at all. I agree with you.
yeah,
I
it seems like, I try to be loving in all my relationships. I don't always succeed, but that's my
well,
goal.
none of us do.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost we need to join together to have a group to be effective, that sort of like of myself, I can do nothing, but with
Mhm,
fellow travelers, I have more
mhm,
oomph.
mhm. Mighty companions we become, each
Yes.
do
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
we're led to do, whether it's out in the media or in our personal lives. But at a minimum, we're committed to giving love a more serious try and to participate as we can in
Yes.
getting our brothers and sisters to do the same through our demonstration.
Mhm.
So we're just coming to some unified goals, and what that looks like, I have no idea. And you know how old I'll be in 10, 15 years? Okay, I can't see anything happening for 10 years. Sadhguru put in 37 years.
That's interesting because there are a lot of people here who feel like something big is going to happen, and they're the ones who believe in all of the um, revelations in the Bible and all of the predictions in the Bible, and they're ready to. They're expecting it any time. So it could happen sooner than you think. um,
You've noticed the time speed up that's occurred.
oh yeah,
It
yeah,
used to take 50 years, given technology, etc. In 3 to 5 years, what's it going to look like? In 3 to 5 years,
yeah.
what
I don't
used
know.
to take 50, you see?
Yeah.
So I appreciate where you're coming from, Sherilyn, and your honesty with it. Uh, did we ask Joan? And I'm going to wrap up here, but I just want to get some assessments. Joni, did you already speak to me?
I already said something.
Yeah, say
How
it.
about Linda?
Pardon me? Should I go to Linda?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Myers, you always have something wonderful. What say ye, my dear?
I really don't know.
No, me either. Go ahead.
It seems to me like if you want to explode this, you have to get a gimmick, like Coke did,
Mhm.
and a sponsor, and you have to
Yeah.
advertise.
one of the things I want as a first step is to try and engage with more people, and not just like regular people, but if I send an email to Snoop Dogg and say, hey, would you endorse our Be Nice campaign?
Mhm.
Anybody see that video I keep talking about, right?
Mhm.
Well, the video is called Be Nice.
Yeah.
And so he did a whole Be Nice video. Maybe he endorsed the Be Nice campaign, because that's what that video was, wasn't it?
So did you reach out to him?
No, not yet. But that's what I'm saying. Maybe just put feelers out and see if there are other people, not just in the Unity Church, not just course students, but high level associates, I call them. Okay. For example, the president of the Foundation for Inner Peace, would they endorse a Be Nice campaign? I don't know. But that's kind of where I would start to see if we can get any traction about practical spirituality and our campaigns and our teaching, and people want to learn more and things like that. So that's a suggestion as a way to get started, and yeah, I can work on it. So did everybody get a chance to respond? Linda, did you have anything else? Thank you. Our gimmick is Be Nice. It tastes better than Coke or something like
Mhm. Mhm. How
that.
about it? And it's free.
Yeah, yeah. So there are a lot of things we could put together. We have beautiful messages to go along with this idea. So I'd like this year just to put out feelers and develop it and see if someone would sign up to be part of it, whatever part that is. As a matter of fact, maybe this is a good place for us to do our workshop wrap up, and just take a few minutes of your time. Let me show you what I'll be sending you after tonight's workshop. And it's called a participant package email. And what I'll be sending you is a workshop evaluation form, like I do with all my workshops. I hope you'll fill it out. You just click on the link and fill out the questions and submit it, and I will get your responses. I'm also going to send you a link to join our Practical Spirituality Network. Engage with us as we pursue practical spirituality. Get on our mailing list so you can keep up with whatever actions we're trying to initiate, and where you feel led, you can tell us you'd like to participate. So I'll send you a link to join our PS network. I'll also send you a link to register for PS 103. It's entitled The Ways of Love, Practical Spirituality Methodologies. Learn more about how we must use the power of love exclusively to achieve our goals. This is not going to be a fight against adversaries. as spiritual people, you already know what I'm talking about. I'll send information a little bit more about Love Communications Ministries, our vision and mission, a little more about Earth School, and about our presence on our YouTube channel. You're all part of the study groups weekly and all the things that we're posting on YouTube. And finally, I'll send you a We'd Love Your Help donation link. So if you think Love Communications and what we're doing is worthwhile and feel led, you can send us a donation. So that's what I have for you. And let me just stop share, see your faces better. And we're at the end. I think we ran a few minutes over, but thank you for indulging me. Any parting comments, my friends?
Thank you for your efforts. They're great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Back to you. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Engage with me and do whatever you're led to do, and I'll keep moving forward and reporting back. Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Have a
Thank you.
great evening,
Thank
everybody.
you. You too.
And namaste.
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 Bye bye.